Welcome to Termite Machine Works. My name is Keith. Nesting 1, 2, 3. Welcome to my PlasmaCAM screen once again. I have recently acquired the nesting software for the PlasmaCAM to complement the Design Edge software put out by PlasmaCAM itself. And I'm getting acquainted, getting warmed up to it, and decided to bring you along.
Alright, we're throwing a little twist into the video here. I've actually come out to the shop now and installed my video software on my computer that I control, the PlasmaCAM, so that I can be out here and in the future, and when we get rolling on the nesting and an actual cut preview of this subject, I will be able to accommodate that action. Alright, let's get to opening the control panel for nesting shapes. Alright, now you have to have something to nest or to play with before you can actually open up the nesting control. I'm just going to show you this for instance. Up here in the menu, machine, you come down, there's nesting shape. And it's not highlighted, and I can click on it all day long and I'm not going to get it open. Alright, but if I pick my cutout here that I have, I come back here and it's highlighted, and when I click on nesting shapes, the window opens. Alright, let's cruise the options that we have in the nesting software, and I hope I can get through this pretty soon here. I have a hard time controlling the mouse and running my mouth at the same time. This window right here is where our items are listed. Okay, now we only had the one item, our logo, to cut out, and so there's only one item that was brought in here when we initiated the program, and it's group 1, and it has 126 paths, and it's 29.53 inches in size. And each item that you choose to incorporate in your nesting project would be here. So if you had more than one, it'd be group 1, group 2, group 3, so on. And it would fill the box all the way up and down. You'd be able to scroll this depending on how many you got. And it would also initiate the move up and move down controlling. This is pretty much a window that's basically the same as most photo entries into photo galleries on websites and so on. Alright, let's go to the next section here, which would be part group options. And this is the first place you'd go to that pertain to the individual highlighted parts or groups over in this window here. So that's highlighted there, and we would put in the minimum quantity. The minimum quantity would be the actual quantity that you would want to cut out of your sheet or your plate or your specific piece of material. Alright, max quantity would be the most parts that we'd want to be cut out if we had room to cut those out of, meaning there's more material than our minimum 2 pieces, so we could go ahead and if there's room, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and let's cut 4. That would be an example of max quantity. You got room on your plate, and it's not going to hurt to have a few more pieces. Or also too, you might have a piece of plate up there, and you don't know if you got this or that amount there, but it's kind of close or borderline, and you can go ahead and hit those max quantity a little bit higher, and when it goes through the process of actually organizing and getting it on there, sometimes you can actually see that an individual oddball may fit and may not fit. So sometimes if you're gonna be closer borderline, I find that you can go ahead and give yourself a couple more, and they may fit in there even though you may not have thought they would. Alright, minimum scale would be a percent, and you see the percent symbol there, of the full 100%. 100% listing in this box right here means that you're going to cut it out at your original planned dimensions, as if you were cutting out the single piece on the table all by itself. you want to go ahead and you want to keep those exact dimensions right in there, so you would leave it at 100. But let's say you actually could sacrifice your full scale, and then you could enter, say, 90%, and it would make your parts smaller, and then you may be able to fit exactly what you want. So if you can sacrifice your full scale down, you may be able to get more pieces in that certain area. So that would be a, or if you just really wanted to shrink them down. But I would probably say that minimum scale would be to sacrifice a little bit of original size to make more squeeze in on a certain area. Now max scale would be just like minimum scale, that 100 would mean true size as the original that you are trying to nest. All right, and if, let's say you had a single part or multiple parts that you could or wanted to increase the size because you had room to play with, you could make them larger by just going ahead and increasing this to 120% or so on, to suit how much you actually want to grow that part onto the screen. And what's nice is you can type in this, and then you can hit OK, and you can go to your screen there, and you can check all the parameters there as it's going. But for right now, we're just trying to cut multiples of true parts, and we're going to leave both of these on full scale or true. I'm going to say true scale. We want parts to remain the same as we drew them to begin with. Okay, rotate for best fit actually gives the program permission to spin any of your objects, any of the copies of the objects that you have on the flat surface in a direction to interlock them, and it decides its best position to put those so that you are getting the least amount of waste between those parts. Alright, mirror for best fit. When you check this, that lets the program take and flip the part over, basically a mirror image of the original drawing. And some things can perfectly be okay cutting a mirrored object, and when you flip the part over, and it doesn't matter which side of the part is up or down, because when you get done cutting it, you can flip it the direction desired, and there's no harm. Now if you had diamond tread or text or lettering, mirror image may throw a catch in your get along there, and I would advise not to run that highlighted. Alright, just a note, it can save you room and material, but it also can cause you heartburn if you're going to cut an opposite image of what you're trying to cut out of something that's surface sensitive, meaning one side of that plate does have to be facing up. Alright, keep within a section. When you check keep within a section, your parts that you have highlighted and your quantities and all the goodies there and how they're rotated and all that will stay within a section. And a section has a couple different definitions to it, and I will get into there because you can keep it. Your section could be the 4x8 or the 4 foot by 4 foot table size, and also too, if you were to have a void or a cutout in a piece of material, you can put a blockade up, and you can control that section. So but when you check this, you will be able to confine it just to a section, and you're cutting parts. You won't be trying to cut parts over voided areas or off the table. Alright, let's swing over here to the left here. Fill direction. Now there's a little arrow down in here, and of course you can click it at any of these areas right here, all the way around in a circle. And these are directions that you can fill direction, mean start along that edge, start in that corner, and fill the table from that direction, from the corner out in the direction the arrow is pointing. All right, let's talk about material size, and you can change this to fit any size piece that you actually can throw on the table. And default had 48 by 96, but I have put a number in there playing around, and I'll be doing that here when I give you a demo on some other parts here, that you can confine it to a piece of material, say like a 12-inch wide by 3-foot long piece of material, and you can put that on the table and you could type those dimensions in here, and it's gonna hold your array of parts into that confined area. Alright, we're up here at general options now, and these are the options that kind of lump all the other parts that are going to be nested into their final resting place. And the first option is part spacing, and this is a default setting of 200 or 0.2. They don't carry it out 3 places, so it's with respect, it does have 10, 15,000 plus or minus or whatever. You would normally think that way with 0.2. All right, and we will get into close shots on the screen, and I will be showing you what you can expect with a 0.2 dimension there on part spacing. Edge spacing, and they have in here 0.3. Edge spacing is the parts away from the edge of the table, or the parts away from the edge of the within a section area, or the material width or size. So the edge of your material into the nearest part, or the first part near the edge, would be edge spacing, and that's 300 thousandths was default setting. Now I'm just telling you that these are defaults. These can be changed, and we'll play with those as we go. But for right now, I learned also to start out playing, go ahead and take a default setting suggestion. It's a good place to start. Position step, it's kind of a I didn't understand the name, but I did a little bit of research there and kind of moving things around. And basically what I've come up with is this is the dimension of drop between your parts. So you have 200 thousandths right here of part spacing, but you have 2 paths of 80 thousandths kerf, and what's left over is just about in true number it would be 40 thousandths, but this is right here is 50 thousandths, but it's only carried out 2 places, so that's probably why it looks more like 40 thousandths in dimensions in the drawings or whatever. But if you increase this, you will increase the space between, or your drop of material. Alright, scale step. I think this is an additional adjustment for your scales. I mean, you have your minimum percentage and your maximum percentage on your individual parts, and I think this is a percentage of the entire collection that can go through the scale step. I wanted to add just a little bit more of that scale step here for a quickie second there. I'm not 100% on that, and I will admit to that fact. That is my best judgment at this time. As we go and we play with this number a little bit more, we might find out a little bit more about it, or as comments come into this from software owners having the nesting software, they might emphasize on and pass on a little bit of good information about it. I'm just looking at the default setting, and it was on 5 to start with, and I haven't noticed any difference on dimensions of my parts. So that was where I was using my best judgment call and guessing on this scale step. Rotate step degree is allowable degrees that you can set to rotate or angle your your components or your parts that are going to be cut out. Alright, this brings us down to the look ahead steps, which is my favorite setting in this whole thing. It took me a little bit to grasp this one. The look ahead steps is a setting that tells the program how many scenarios to look for, or how many steps of scenarios to go through to come up with a conclusion for your nesting project. Okay, so that if you put in this one, and the nesting decision might be made in 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and you put in 2, and then it goes 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and so on. The more steps you have, the harder you're going to work the think process in the software. It's the bottom line. And so that's what that setting is about. And you might go figure this one out and type in 12 or some crazy number like that, and really let its wheels be spinning. You better go make a pot of coffee or something. Go get something to do. Now, also finalizing on this look ahead steps, I think when you program this in and you get the rest of your settings all set up and you've completed this whole form, I believe you'll be able to look down here and estimating nesting time, hours, minutes, and seconds. So it does have a little time meter down here, just so you don't panic, or you have an estimated time to deal with. So you can find out how long we really need to wait. Okay, this last section here, cut path options. Now, I'm not going to get into too much of this because it kind of plays out with what you load. Like what I loaded a project with cut paths, and it automatically came up with a check mark. Keep existing cut paths and group cut paths with parts. And both of those are smart thinking. No sense in making new cut paths. I have it all set up already on there, and I want each group or each part to be cut out completely before it goes to the next one. So that's kind of what I have in here now. Now, if I did convert to cut paths, and it opens up the other selections here, cut in separate sections, convert bend lines. Now, I just know from experience that I've accidentally created 2 sets of cut paths before, and I'm going to leave that unchecked, and I'm going to keep it simple and keep what's automatic in here. We'll explore more of what happens in this options window here for the cut paths as we play around with some other scenarios. All right, for right now, we've clicked a couple of test runs here. Back and forth. I had to go do something, so I lost my window. I had to restart it, but I think I got everything back in here the way we were playing. We got minimum 2 quantity, maximum 4. We're running on true fit. We're going to rotate for best fit. We're going to keep within a section. Our length and width are 96 and 48. Everything else over here is the same: 2, 3, 5, 5, 5, and look ahead 1 step. We're loading from that direction, and it says 13 seconds is the estimated nesting time. All right, now we hit OK. Okay, now I've zoomed out so you got the whole window now, so we can see what we got, and you see the table outline, and you see 2 parts in here that have been rotated and they fit in there. Now there's a void in an area right here, but the end of the next one and the next one are sitting outside the cut area of the table, because back when we checked within a confined area, the 4x4 is the confined area. That is the size of our cut table, and that sets the parameter of that area. And now if we go back, and we go back up here to the nest shapes, we go ahead and we punch in 2, we punch in 4, We keep everything here. We uncheck keep within section, 96 and 48, and everything else is exactly the same. And now we hit OK. Of course, this drops down in 11 seconds. All right. Now that we haven't confined it to that one section, it will lay those right out straight in a row. So if we had a 4x8 sheet, we could actually index this sheet and keep cutting them. Okay, so it went ahead and put 4 here, and we probably have room for more. All right, we could probably get a full 5 logos out of a 4x8 sheet. Excuse me. All right, let's test that theory. Okay, we put in 2. Let's go the max. Let's go 6. Okay, keep within section, no. All right, same size table, and this says 6 seconds. Oh, and then it clicked to 12 right at the end there. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I wouldn't put the 6th one on here because there is no plate after that because our material is only 4x8.
Okay, enough of my artwork. Let's get into another project here. Let's say you're doing production and you have a certain amount of parts you want to get on the table and get going. So let's go ahead and just put up some shapes here. And this undercut flange is a good one. I like that. I'm going to set these off the table so that they're just out of the off the table. How's that? No reason, just want to have them out there. All right, oval. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. About a 1x4 oval. All right. Now I just want to go ahead and let's just draw an odd L shape here. Something like that, and another square here like that. Let's zoom in. All right, we're going to move that one like that. All right, zoom out. All right, let's go ahead and we're just going to marry those so that it makes an L. Okay, all right. All right, let's say that those are our items that we're going to nest. Highlight them, come up here, go to nesting. All right. The reason why I put them over here is so that they weren't under my screen. All right. Now let's take and see, now you can work up and down, move up, move down, however you want to order them. Okay. So anyway, the L, there's the L right there. Let's go minimum quantity on that. Let's go ahead and let's go 20 items. All right. Now this flange here, let's go ahead and type in 30. All right, and we're not gonna go for any max. And when you automatically put it in there, see those two numbers match. The only time that would increase is if you added another different number down there. All right, so on the oval there, let's say 20, but we want to go ahead, if we want a max quantity, let's go ahead and go for 80. All right. Now let's we're going to keep those rotate for best fit, mirror. You know, nothing needs to be surface sensitive there. Keep within an area. We're calling 48 by 48 our area. It's feeding in from the corner. We'll just let it go at that one. All right, and we're going to leave all these alone. Convert to cut paths and group cut paths with parts. We're going to let it fly with that one. All right. All right, here we go.
Wow, that looks awesome. Dang.
Alright, there's our nesting project that we just quickly plugged in there, and it laid out that project for us. And that's one example. I'm going to be covering quite a few more examples, and I'm going to play with it and get a little bit more experience with it. And I hope I'm pretty much right on my description for the controls. And if I'm not, please jump in there and correct me or add to what I've already stated. And also too, if I realize or I find out that I made a bad call on any of my descriptions there, I will bring that up on part 2. I'm going to play around for probably a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then I'm going to come up with a part 2 nesting project video for you. So take care and get her done.